Good morning, this is Rick. I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I'm going to do a little bit of a discussion about what we've learned so far. Blue sky, sort of. Well, it's very grey over there. Who knew? Blue sky, the UK, what's that all about? Right, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been to a show? Let's say, for example, a car show. And the first hour, you walk through the door and your jaw is on the ground looking at all of these incredible cars. You're absolutely, wow, look at that, wow, look at a Ferrari or a Koenigsegg or whatever it is. And then 5 hours later, you're still at the show, but they've got to the point now where they just all look the same. They're just a box on wheels and you're happy to go home. I'm kind of there with house hunting at the moment. I've just spent the last 2 weeks going through lots and lots of properties. Now, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who suggested a potential area that I should look at with a view to going and moving there and living there. And I had a list of 78 properties and the suggestions are still coming in. So it's very, very much appreciated. Now, I've gone through all 78 that were on my list. I started off in virtual reality, sort of checking places out, and then I thought this is really slow and cumbersome. So what I need to do is speed the process up a little bit. And so I used apps like Rightmove and Zoopla, and I started typing these places in and getting a look at them that way, using Google Maps as well, find their location, and obviously get a fingerprint or a feel for what the house property prices are like. And through that process, I was able to eliminate quite a few areas simply because they were just not within my budget. But there was a bit of a pattern that was emerging, and it's giving me a general idea of what or what not to expect. I thought it would be a kind of a clean cut exercise, and I'd come out with a very black and white sort of yes or no understanding of what everything was all about. But it's also confused everything because there's a lot of grey area. And anyway, long story short, I've basically concluded, but I also haven't concluded, that there are a very few places that I could go to and get the kind of property that I want. Which is ultimately a small dwelling with a driveway and at least a garage, so that I can have a place to park Guinevere and a workshop. But like a little 2-bed bungalow or something, I would be happy with, as long as it was in the right area. But based on everything that I've seen so far, and bearing in mind that the entire thing will be based upon what I could possibly get for this house, I've generally concluded that 95% of anything that I could get in exchange for this house will be generally on either a housing estate, which is, I'm already on a housing estate, so I don't really want to move to another housing estate, or I'll end up with a little tiny terraced place with no parking on a busy street. That's 95% of all the properties I look for in this price bracket. That's generally what I'm most likely to be able to get my hands on. And neither of those are very appealing. However, there is also that 5 or 10% of places where you will find a little gem of a property, stuck out on the edge of a village or in the middle of nowhere or something, that will fall within the budget. Maybe a bit of a fixer-upper or something. But there is also that possible chance you may just find that little gem. Then I'm learning about selling your house. If I were to say find a little gem in the middle of nowhere, there's this thing called Airbnb. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. People are snapping up properties to sell as rentals. So say I found a little gem in the middle of nowhere, think, right, great, I'll put in an offer on that subject to the sale of this house. And then while I'm waiting for this house to sell, the probability of somebody else, like a cash buyer, coming along and snapping up that little property, apparently it's quite high. So there's all the stress of that as well. And anyway, it doesn't look like it's going to be an easy thing. They always say house moving is one of the most stressful things you ever do. So, I mean, you know, it's not going to be easy anyway, but it has kind of maybe go, well, all right, let's just step back a bit and do a little bit more of a plan B. I think I'm overthinking this way too much, which is normal for me. I overthink everything. That's what I do. And I try to sort of write everything down, get everything in black and white on the page, and then work from that. Anyway, without like overthinking it all again while I'm trying to make this video, to cut a long story short, like I say, I'm at the 5th or 6th hour of the car show where I'm so housed out at the moment. I can't even think about looking at another property. I need to step back a bit, have a breather. And I think, to cut a long story short, what I need to do, and this is, I suppose doing this exercise has helped me to conclude this. I kind of needed to jump through these hoops in order to find this semi-conclusion at the moment. But what I need to do is just forget about moving for the moment, use this place as a base and get out and see some of the country. Now I've got a general idea of what it's all about with the house hunting and you know, the moving to different places. I've tried so many times to make this video and it's so difficult to articulate. But what I'm trying to say is there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of potential places I could go and live in the UK. And the big question in my mind, or the quest, is how do you nail down to one place? How do you find that one place, that one little gem that you can't live without not living there? And I guess the quest is to just get out there and try to find it. This property search thing, I mean, it's been really useful in so much as it's told me that, you know, there are loads of places that I'm not going to be able to afford, or will not get a property that's going to be good enough, which is fine. I already have a property. I can use this place as a base. I'm kind of central, so you know, getting to the East Coast or the West Coast, I don't have to drive right across the country. I can, you know, do it in a relatively painless time frame. But because I'm now on the 5th hour of the car show, going back to that metaphor, I can't look at another property right now. I'm just, my brain is scrambled with what's possible and what's not. The general thing that I've walked away with is you can't live in lots and lots of different places that you want to live in, but you might be able to. It's like the answer is not as black and white as I was hoping it would be. There's a lot of grey area. So I think what I need to just do this year is just forget about actual finding a house. What I need to do is find a place to fall in love with, which is kind of what I said all the way back to the beginning. I said I'm not really looking to buy a house. I'm looking to find an area to fall in love with. And I think that still stands. Just getting a feel for an area, getting that vibe, feel whether I like it or not, and then give it a score out of 10, and then move on and go to another area and do that. Because there is so much of this country that I haven't seen with my own eyes, haven't felt there. I've driven through many places, but I've never actually stopped and had a little look around, you know? So I think that's going to be the way forward. So forget about moving, forget about potential places to live. I'm just going to go out and see the country, and then just organically see whether I actually fall in love with a place or not, and then give it a mark out of 10. I'll write everything down wherever I go, and then if something shouts at me, then and only then will I consider the whole property thing. And I think that's the way I'm going to go forward this year. So thank you. Seriously, thank you for all of the suggestions. They're still coming in. I even looked last night, I had a load of comments and more suggestions of places to look. I am so house hunted out at the moment. Sorry, that was a long waffly video, and it's seriously, I didn't realize how this process would turn my brain to mush, because it is really, it's like I've concluded something, but then I've concluded nothing. It's like you can live in one of these places, but then you probably can't. It's like, I don't know, it's so hard to pinpoint or nail down a way forward with this, apart from just get out there and start looking. So that's going to be my quest this year. Like I said, I was hoping I would end up with a black and white list of, right, okay, you can go to this area, or this area, go and have a look. That was the plan to start with. But it's turned out that I could go to anywhere in the country, and there are hundreds and hundreds of places I could go to, and I could get a place there or near there, but then I might not be able to as well. So I'm no better off in the black and white department. All I've got is grey, various shades of grey. And on that note, my brain is just melting in my head, just trying to articulate this. So that's going to be the plan this year. Now, I have got a busy couple of weeks ahead, actually. I still have to work for a living. I've got loads of work, and I've got meetings. I have got a little camp planned as well with Damon. So I'm going to get those out of the way. That's going to give me my breathing space and an opportunity to sit down and work out a bit of an itinerary of where I'm going to go and visit. I'm just going to go and visit some counties, some big areas in the country, go and get to see the UK for a bit. If nothing else, I'll get a nice series of videos out of it, but hopefully I might also find that future currently elusive place to go and spend the rest of my life in. But it's just a case of sit tight, watch this space, and don't worry about any more recommendations for places to live. Like I say, I've gone through like a list of 78. It's turned my brain to mush. I just can't look at any other properties at the moment, but I will get out there and start traveling and looking. Traveling is the goal for this year, and I know it's hard sometimes for me to go out and travel, but I'm determined to beat it this year. I said that last year. I'm going to do it this year. I'm going to get out there and look at some of the country, and I've got to stop waffling now. So that is it from me. Be interested to hear your comments below, and thanks for watching. So until next time, you take care.